Hello all, welcome to the Cloud DevOps Guru channel. From today we are going to discuss about the version control system. In the specifically version control system, we will discuss about the Git. So Git is the version control system where we can maintain the repositories. So in the Git, we can maintain the multiple repositories for the multiple projects. So whenever we go into the organizations, whenever we start the working in the project, so first we will have the one Git repository. Inside the Git repositories, we can create the multiple repositories. So those repositories for the multiple projects. For example, you have the project for the health. You have the project for the insurance. You have the project for the finance. So these are some of the projects. So for the specific project, we have the specific repositories inside the Git repository. We will create the different repositories for the different projects, and multiple developers can work on the one repository or multiple repositories also. So if the developers are divided into the multiple projects, and if the developers are working on the multiple projects also, they can deal with the multiple repositories. Okay, first of all, we will understand the what is the repository. A repository is nothing but the storage location where we can store our code. So when we start working on the project, first we will get the one Git repository. Inside that repositories, multiple developers and also DevOps engineers can work, write the code and push the code into the Git repository. And that code will be collaborate to each other. So using the Git, we can keep track of history of the code. History of code. Who has developed the code? Developed the code, and when he has developed the code and push the code into the repository, we can maintain that history using the Git repository. We can also call the Git repository as the version control system. Version control system is nothing but the VCS. In the market, we have the different kinds of VCSs. First is the centralized version control system. Second is the distributed version control system. Git is the distributed version control system. First of all, we will understand what is the centralized version control system. Centralized version control system. Second is the distributed. In the centralized version control system, we have the popular one is the subversion. And in the distributed version control system, we have the popular one is the Git. So specifically, we will learn the Git, but we will understand the concept of the centralized version control system and distributed version control system. Okay, let's understand by the pictorial. In the centralized version control system, you have the client server architecture. In the centralized version control system, you have the one server and you have the multiple clients. Clients are nothing but your laptop or your desktop or your mobile, anything. So you have the multiple clients here. In the centralized version control system, we have in the server we have the server software and in the client we have the client software. Client know the how to communicate to the server. When the multiple developers are working from the multiple location, they no need to be online. They can work in the offline and they can push the code into the server when they are online. So whenever they are pushing the code, at that time only they should be the online. They can work offline. But here major drawback is the in the centralized version control system, that is the single point of failure. If your server is fail, then your complete data will be gone. So because of that, for overcome this, we will have the multiple servers here for highly available. So that issue will be resolved using the multiple server, means highly available. So if one server is goes down, second server will be serve the request for your client. In this way, you can maintain the your version control system. This is nothing but the centralized version control system. Now, second one is the distributed version control system. In the distributed version control system, we have the similar kind of software in the each and every client and also in the server. Here we are not having the any client server architecture. Every server or every system has this similar kind of the software. For example, inside this we have the Git software. Here also we have the Git software. In the all the client also we have the Git software. But in the server we have the Git software with the daemon. Daemon is nothing but the background running process which will continuously serve the request. And also in the server we have the login system where these clients will be create their account and they can keep track their code inside the server. So this is the major difference between the centralized and distributed version control system. In the distributed version control system, if server goes down, you can make the any client as a server and start serving as the server inside the distributed version control system. For example, this is the goes down, then this will become the you can make the server and start serving the request from the other clients. So in this way we can we will not lose any data in the distributed version control system. In the server and in the client also has the same copy of the code. Okay. So in the Git, we have the different areas to work. First is the working area, or we can call it as the working tree also, where we start work. Second is the staging area. Staging area. Third one is the local repository. Local repo, we will call it. Then we have the remote repo. Then we have to deal with the stashes. Stash area. So these are the area where we will work in the Git. So let's understand with the simple example. For practice this, you have the Git bash installed in the Windows. If you are working or you are practicing in the Linux, you should install the Git software. Okay. So if you are the new in the Windows server, just you can go and search the Git bash for Windows. You will get the software here. Download it. You can download any software and double click it and press the next and it will install the Git bash into your server. After that, you go inside the any folder and create the one folder first. I will create here one folder as a testing Git. So log in inside the Git. just right click it here and press on the git bash here. It will open the git bash prompt. Okay, whenever you open the git bash in the folder, now you can see you are not having any file or folder inside the our created folder, right? So just for initialize the git repository, you have to run the git init. When you run the git init, it will initialize the empty git repository in your local system. So now you can see initialize the empty git repository in this folder. It has created the .git folder. Inside the .git folder, it will maintain the history of our changes. Okay. Now, so you can run the git status for check the status of your git repository. We are not having any file. We are not having anything to track here. Just we are initialize the fresh repository, right? For play with our git today, I will create the one file here. File.txt. This is first file. Save it. Now you can run the git status for check the status of your git. Now you can see my file is untracked file. It is not tracking. Git is not tracking my file. So if you want to track it, so you have to use the git add with our file name. If you want to add the single file, just you can use the git add and your file name .txt. Now you can check the git status. So now it's added. So if you wanted to track your changes with your name and with your email address, once you initialize the git repository, you have to run the command git config -- global user dot name and give the name here. For example, I am giving the name as a demo. You can give any name, your name here. Then you have to run the git config -- global user dot email address. Email. For example, my email is the demo@gmail.com. You can give the any email, your email here. If you are working in the organization, so you have to give your name and you have to give your email here. Then only it will track your changes with your name. Let's run it. Before adding the any code into the repository, so first of all you have to run it. Copy it and paste it here. Second one is the for email address. Paste it here. Okay. Now I will check the status of my file. It is in the tracking. So once you run the git add with your file name, it start tracking your file, right? So now I wanted to commit these changes into the local repository. Then you have to run the git commit -m for give the any messages. You can give here any messages. My file. You can give message here with whatever you are developing your code. For example, I am writing the function in the shell scripting. You can write the function name and in shell scripting. You can give the any name here. Now you can check the status of your code. Nothing to commit. Means we are not having any changes now. Now I will add another one file here. Test.txt. This is test file. Okay. Now you can see git status. Just I had added the test.txt. It is showing in the untracked file. If you wanted to track it, git add, you can give the your file name, or if you wanted to uh, track all the files which are updated, which are modified, which are deleted. If you wanted to track all the files, then you can use the git add hyphen git add dot, or you can add the hyphen all. Git status. Now it's in tracked. It is in the staged area. Now, if you wanted to commit it, so git commit hyphen m. This is second file. You can give the any message here, and it will commit it into the local repository. Now, I had created the two files. Now I wanted to add something into the test file. Just I had created. This is second line. Save and exit. Now you can run the git status. So now you can see just I had updated, means modified my file. So it is showing inside the modified. Now I wanted to track it. So you can add git add all the changes. So it is moved from working tree to the staging area. Now if you wanted to change into the, if you wanted to commit it, so you can commit modified file. Then you can check the status. You are not having any changes now into the local repository. Means in this today we had understand the working area, staging area, and local repository. In the working area, I had added the file. This is working area. This is the staging area. And this is the local repository. If you added the file or modified the file, you wanted to move your file into the staging area, just you have to here run git add. Git add dot, for example. And if you wanted to move your changes from staging area to the local repository, then you have to run the git commit hyphen m with that message. Then your code will move into the local repository. Okay. Today we understand the what is the use of the git init command. Git init command will initialize the local repository. Second, we understand the git add command, git commit command, git status command. Now, whatever the changes you had made, right? I said it will maintain the history. So git logs. Sorry, git log. So now you can see it is maintaining the history of logs here. Author means who is implementing this code? Our demo. I had configured that username and mail, right? So he has created this file and modified this file. So it is when it is modified, that date and time is also showing here. Means if you wanted to track what are the changes are done by the some user, so that is possible with using the Git repository. Okay, so please practice these commands and get familiar with these commands. So in the next class we will go some extra and advanced steps. Okay, that's it from my end today. Please do the practice. Thank you.